getting ourselves in place.
You get to have my half head in the first part of the frame. It's so awesome. That one is just like in...
What? That looks frozen though.
Yeah, that didn't look live to me.
It's not. Oh, there we are. But why is that bulb? Maybe you won't see that little at the top. Hello, friends.
It's not a live story.
Woo in the brain, women in the wellness. Sorry, trying to figure out. We legitimately have 4 pieces of technology going.
And we are middle-aged women, so it's good times.
It is. Again, someone should really record what we're doing to get ready to do things because it's hilarious. If I'm being really honest. So we're trying to figure that out. Today, we are going to talk. I'm just going to, kill some time while Natalie's working on it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Ladies and gents.
So, Woo in the brain here, talking about seasonal energy. I keep wanting to say seasonal allergies. It's going to come out my face today.
We don't have the Rona.
Allergies.
Just saying. Don't have the Rona.
So, that is going to be our topic of the day, but as always, we want to start with some entertainment and something fun. So, she's always going to turn off the sound because I can't listen to myself.
I can't handle that.
That's my favorite. So I got a new game. This last weekend I held a fire ceremony in my backyard. Yep, you heard that correctly. It was amazing. It was amazing. Socially distant, outdoor, really cool event and super fun. So I got a game called For the Girls to enjoy after the ceremonial part. And so we decided maybe we would try to play it. I'm going to tell you guys in advance that it might be a hot second before we find one that's actually appropriate.
Worth doing. So the goat's here. We have other tools to entertain. We have Not Today, Satan.
And Jesus Take the Wheel. So that's our
fall colors today.
Our fall.
I think the top one actually is one that I can do.
Okay, all right. Oh, Lord. I just read it.
First to mess up loses this card.
Okay.
Friends characters.
Rachel.
Phoebe.
Monica.
Joey.
Chandler.
Ross.
What's her name? Oh, no.
The one with the laugh, but I can't think of her name. She was Chandler's girlfriend. Why can't I think of her name?
I'm already out.
How about a Smelly Cat?
Smelly Cat!
And Gunther? Wasn't Gunther at the coffee?
Yes, I was trying to think of somebody at the coffee house. You won that one.
Oh, yes.
That we can't, not appropriate. See, this is what I said.
Not today.
No, it's lame. Either it's lame or it's not appropriate. Nope. Sorry, friend. This was sort of meant. We started playing it, Natalie and I realized very quickly it's probably meant maybe for someone more in their 20s. I'm just not to discriminate.
That's true. That was true.
That's not funny or interesting.
Oh, good night.
I know. Oh, no, we already did.
No.
See?
No.
You guys,
okay. First to mess up this card, holidays.
Oh, okay. Why? Okay, we already asked. Okay, Halloween.
Thanksgiving.
Christmas.
Valentine's Day. I was
trying to think. 4th of July. 4th of July.
The St. Patrick's Day.
Easter.
The solstices count? Like summer solstice?
Sure.
Summer solstice. What else?
Winter solstice.
May Day.
May Day.
What else do I decorate for? That's really the question.
You did Valentine's Day, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did we say Christmas?
Yeah, I did right away.
Okay. No, you didn't. You said Halloween right away.
No, but I did that pretty quickly.
Okay.
I think we could review it, but I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, really?
Day of the Dead.
Memorial Day.
Oh, Labor Day.
Veterans Day.
There's a day really for everything. Let's be honest.
I know.
Today is actually International Mental Health Day.
Whoa,
did you know that?
Look at that little nugget of wisdom.
Yep. But there's like Cat Day and Dog Day.
I know there is.
Other not.
Okay. I'm trying to find one that we didn't do. I'm like, I feel like I'm like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm running into ones we did.
Wow. If we read these out loud, this would be funnier, but also it would be a drinking game. Have you ever hung out with a celebrity?
No.
Hell no.
I'm not cool.
Well, I'm cool.
No, I'm not cool enough.
Am I?
Nope.
To whoever's most likely to become a real housewife, since I'm not one. There you are.
Well, that was a vicarious win. All right, do this. Dare to keep your card. Put ice cubes down your shirt.
Oh, man. This is like, there'd be like a wet t-shirt contest over here. That's not fair.
I would do it. But I'm wearing a black shirt. It is, okay. To be fair. Oh my God. Share a video of you doing the chicken dance on Instagram or Twitter.
Well, we're on Instagram. Okay.
That was terrible.
Sweet.
I love these texting ones. I'm going to tell you the texting ones are fantastic. Oh, God.
Oh. No. It's not happening.
Natalie said it was a hard pass on that one.
Hard pass.
Allow the person across from you to send a text to from your phone and delete it before you read what it was. At the end of the game, they can tell you what they texted. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Am I not smart enough for that?
I'm not smart enough for that.
Oh my gosh. Let every other player in the game roast you for 30 seconds.
30
That's
seconds?
Fantastic. Nope. We're not reading that on our show.
No.
Nope.
Who is most likely to get free drinks from the bartender? Blondes.
Oh,
here
but
you are.
That might be like a vicarious, but not for any other reason.
Whoever's most likely to cancel plans 15 minutes before they start? Not me. Not you. I
don't think so. Nope. I don't think so.
Whoever's most likely to move to LA and become an influencer? There we go. She wants to be.
I would be.
She's a wellness influencer. What are we
talking
about? She already
is. That's what I hope. All right.
She's just not living in LA yet.
Well, I'm going to say that the inappropriate level of this game does make it slightly.
She's saying.
This
is from the book Badass.
You are bad.
You create your reality.
I'm working on it.
Moving on.
Working on it. So, okay, friends. Well,
okay.
We struggle to find some appropriate. I'm going to tell you because these cards are.
We do.
But they are.
I am
pretty
trying
fun
to watch if you're making comments, but yes. I make no promises.
So ask questions, please, while we're visiting today, if you would like. Okay, so seasonal energy cycle. So if you're ever wondering what the hell we're doing, our notes are in front of us here. So we're not reading from them, but it's a nice little agenda. So remember what the heck we were going to say. So we want to talk. Oh, what's coming up though?
What's coming up?
What's coming up? Let's start there.
What's coming up, Jen? What's coming up?
Oh, my Lanta. Okay.
You have stuff.
I know, but okay, so I have a Chakra Yoga Nidra is coming up. I just put out my free chakra class, which was amazing. Thank you to everybody that attended. That was such a super class. Like, my favorite's when people show up and ask really thoughtful questions. Mm-hmm. Even the ones where I'm like,
that was my favorite part of doing groups is like,
yes.
You don't really have to plan very much because people just have really fantastic, like, what does this mean?
It was so good.
It goes into great conversations.
It totally did. And so it was such a super class. So thanks everybody for that. I am going to have Chakra Yoga Nidra coming. So after I finish this cycle of Sweet Dreams Yoga Nidra that I'm on, I've got 2 more classes. We are going to shift into seasonal stuff, hardcore, in November. So November 1st is that first one. You can sign up online. That's a 7-week series, and that's so we can address every single chakra in your system.
Can you talk about Yoga Nidra, though? Can you tell them what that is?
It's so magic.
It's so magical.
It's so magical.
I thought it was actual, like, yoga. Like, I think yoga, and I'm like, stretching, postures.
Right, everyone thinks that you're going to end up doing yoga postures, right, where we're moving and bending and warrior ones and, things like that. And Yoga Nidra is actually really, the reason I probably was a little tricky about this, didn't say too much about it, was because I didn't want everybody to go, oh, it's meditation, I'm not doing that. It's actually meditation. And so the reason that Yoga Nidra, I think, is super extra bonus, well, it can be. But the reality is that I have kind of taken it in an evening time frame to help people prepare for rest. And I have had reports of people saying they sleep way better using this practice. So it is, like, hands down very truthful when I say it's going to help you rest better. Here's the cool thing about it in my perspective, and this is sort of both clinical, I'm going to ride the line for a minute, clinical and woo-woo, is that
fainting goats.
Yoga Nidra is going to bring you into a very beautiful space where you're not fully aware and not fully asleep. Okay. So it's not hypnotic, but that's almost the space I would want to compare it to. And so it's the reason why I think that as you're experiencing it and taking things in when you're in that space is money. So I create all my own yoga nidras. I rarely anymore like follow a book or someone else's plan. I create them all. And so there's this deep intention and intuitiveness about how I'm walking you through your practice and the things that I'm talking about while you're in that state. So that whole idea is to plug in some really beautiful awareness and growth and support while you're in that state. Yeah. And so that's what makes it magic. It's meditation. But each practice I have sent notes about aromatherapy you can use with it, props if you need them. And then the content each week we talk about, and so there's like a little talk before we start, and then we do some practicing. We always do some breath work. So it's really a whole little mini retreat every single time you come to class. And so it's just a really beautiful practice. And what they say is that for those of us that are tired, Natalie and I were talking about how tired we are.
Well, we're going to talk about it actually today.
We are going to talk about it.
It's appropriate to the season.
It is. Well. And here's the cool thing about Nidra. Nidra is said to have the same properties of taking a 4-hour nap.
Beautiful.
So if you sat down and did a practice,
think about that in the middle of your day.
Incredible.
Take that 2020 4-hour nap.
So that's the money. Is I love doing it to help people sleep, but the truth is that if you can stay awake for your practice, you come out of that really alert and aware and feeling like you just rested for like 4 hours. So it's just a beautiful, it's like a multi-leveled amazing practice, but it's literally my favorite. So I have a Chakra Yoga Nidra coming up. That's going to start in November, so sign up anytime. I am maybe going to offer a bonus for people signing up sooner than later. So I'm working on that. I will definitely let you know. And then I'm going to do a retreat in a box, which is a new thing. I am going to be doing in early January. It's going to be just a day-long retreat, virtual in nature, of course. Unfortunately, however you say that, I will send you a box of treats to help elevate your actual retreat day. So I'm super stoked about this. That is a fun and engaging thing I'm looking forward to kind of putting together for you guys. Before that, Natalie and I plan to go online and do a chat about transitioning from one year to the next, because 2020 has been such a complete shit show for all of us.
Pretty much.
We know that typically as we transition from one year to the next, we do some talking anyway. So we're going to do that, I think, early December. Somewhere in there.
Yep.
Details to follow. We just kind of worked that out today as we were just hopping online, so we haven't put it in a book yet. It's coming. So we will be doing a special, like probably evening class or a weekend. It'll be either evening or so that you can attend and hang with us. It'll be in WebEx. It won't be live on a thing.
And as I always say, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all the uses. Because we'll post whatever is coming down the pike on those.
Yes, we will let everyone know about that. So those are the current things that are kind of coming forward for me. I'm going to take a small break during December for my own well-being.
Because that's
so just being real, that's what I'm kind of doing is practicing getting things kind of lined up so that for December I can really take some downtime and just rejuvenate, which is something that I know we don't all have the ability to do. But when you can, I would recommend scheduling into your life wellness time, downtime. It doesn't have to be a whole month, okay? And I probably won't take the whole month off either. But practice-wise, it might just not look as heavy with practice material in there. However, the one class that will go up to the holiday is Chakra Yoga Nidra. That is going to go up to the 20th of December. And so I'm going to help carry you right through that holiday season.
So there's 7 of them.
There's 7. And so that's going to be a week-to-week. So every Sunday evening we will be getting together and doing Chakra Yoga Nidra, which is going to be just a powerhouse way to spend your holiday season. I think that's going to be a really awesome way to stay rooted. So that's what's coming up. You are working on a webpage, so you have to talk about that.
I am.
I'm going to make you. Sorry.
I know.
I'm going to call you out.
Yay!
Talk about it.
So I like to write, and I write a lot on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. If you follow me at Natalie and Mar Counseling, but who the heck knows who Natalie and Mar Counseling So I have come up with a new URL, Learn to Love Your Story. And I am starting to put together that web page, and it will be just ripe with all of my blogs, videos, sometimes videos that go with the blog so I can talk a little bit more about what I'm writing about. But it's literally, if you've seen me as a client, but if you know me just in general, these are the things that I just am nerdily talking about all the time, and I gather little bits and pieces. And so I'm just going to keep putting stuff out there and want the world to be able to enjoy that stuff, because it shouldn't just stay here. That's right.
Nope, that's
right?
part of your gift.
But because I'm also a small businesswoman and just cheap as hell, I'm putting it together myself. Bluehost, webpage. It's awesome. It's awesome. So it's taking me a hot minute to get it out there. I was hoping it was going to be out by October. I think it'll be out by November, and hopefully that helps bless us all in the November election, that we would have something to go read and watch.
Something else other than
what will be happening in November. So
do yourself a favor. Natalie's writing is fantastic. She and I both love to write, and I love your writing. She shared some pieces with me just so that I could kind of take a look and get the vibe of what she was doing, and it's beautiful. So I would tell you, truly, do yourself a favor and follow along with what she's putting out there, because you will take something away from every single piece that she writes. So show up for that. Show up for her, because it's good stuff, man. And I'm going to keep on her hiney to get that put together, so that, because she's good. Right. She needs to keep moving, so I'll keep her. So, okay, so that's what's coming up. That's okay. So we did our cards, we did our dumb random whatever.
We did.
Okay.
We did that.
So let's get into the energy. So let me say this. One of the things I wanted to talk about that I find myself repeating a lot right now as I'm doing groups of people and I'm introducing and Goddess on the Go is starting, which is redonkulous. It is so good. Oh, okay. Anyway, one of the things we're talking about, I talked about it in my free chakra class as well, is that one of the things I think I most want to empower people to understand is that we talk a lot about our physical health being important, and it is.
Very.
Right? Everything has to start. If we're not really physically well, mostly, we're going to have a hard time functioning, right, and doing other things. And I think it's so important to do mental health and emotional health, right? So that's a layer of health and wellness that's super crucial. And we're getting better at talking about that because of groups like NAMI and people that are out there that are trying to make sure we're being mindful that, like, your physical health is just as important, or your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And I'm going to throw a third one in there, which is your energetic health. So that is how I'm talking about it with people. I've made some new graphics to send them out to my people, because I was like, I want you to be thinking about your energetic health as just as important as the other layers. And they all interweave. I'm not saying one is greater than the other. That's not where I'm going. But I really want to toss that into the bucket, because I don't think we think that way yet. And I'm going to move you into a space where you can see that energetic health has this incredible... It has an incredible effect on all of us. And so if we become mindful and aware, which we're going to be talking about a lot come the new year, if you're mindful and aware, you begin to see that, like, oh yeah, well, dang, this is like playing a big role in my experience. So today, hence the seasonal, not allergy, but energy. I'm going to say that today. So I started thinking about this. I had a couple weeks ago, I for 2 weeks worked straight. I seriously feel like I didn't take any downtime. It was just like,
she's for real.
I mean, when I say, like, legitimately working till 10 o'clock at night, creating all sorts of workbooks and handouts, and I had events coming, and crazy amount of time. And so, and a lot of people were talking about that in one of the groups I was in, this squirrely energy. So I really started thinking about this, like, okay, what's the legitimacy behind how we feel during these seasons? Because each season's different. And so mine was this squirrely idea, like, why, yeah, man, I feel like I'm squirreling things when I'm nesting and I'm getting things organized, and it's all, like, so I'm prepared for the winter. We know that our energy is going to change. Hi, Lauren, how are you? Our energy is going to shift from summer into fall and from fall into winter. And so all sorts of things start to kind of happen for us. Mm-hmm. One thing is that we might have that squirrely energy of sort of getting things prepared and ready, and people start maybe cooking a little bit more at home or prepping for the winter, putting things away outside, right? We do these if you watched Mother Nature, you're going to see some of the things we're doing personified. I mean, it starts there, actually, right? I think it starts from the outside and comes into us.
That's why it's squirrely.
That's why it's squirrely. That's right, exactly. And I feel nuts. So that was how that started. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that. And then I started doing a little bit of research about it, like, what is going on during this season? I know I feel it. I see it in other people. We're all experiencing, like, what is happening? And so I do think that as we head into the darkness, right, what happens, and the darkness is winter. So as we head into that place, we end up kind of feeling like that our energy is gonna sink a little bit, right? So if we think about, this is squirrel energy, fall is squirrel energy, winter is like a bear, right? So bears go into hibernation and they go into this, silent, quiet space. And that's really what winter is. It's
lots of sleeping.
And amen, right? And lots of low energy rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's real, friends. I mean, there's a real component to this, and we see it in our offices. I know I saw it in my office. I mean, so this is a thing. It's a thing with my friends that I hear them saying. I hear it saying, being said in groups that I'm participating in. So all of us feel this stuff. So we're heading from that squirrel into that bear season. And so it's about respecting that energy for each of us. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so if I'm feeling a little like more tired, I need to do, so I conversely am going to try to balance out my squirrel energy, with getting stuff done and keeping all my, acorns together and planning for my winter, and that bear energy where we're kind of coming in and it's getting darker, and I need to respect that this is a quieter, more meditative, chill time of year, right? And so we eat foods that mirror that. We eat heartier foods in the winter, right? People are still start to make soups and stews and eat more warm foods because we're balancing out. We naturally balance out the things we're experiencing. So in the cold months, we balance out by having more coffees and teas and things like that, and some warmer foods, etc. So we're always kind of doing this, and I don't think we call it out. I think it's so natural.
Well, I don't think we have self-awareness of the connectivity. Not, and I don't mean to globally say that. Some people do have some self-awareness that there's kind of these rhythms, right? Rhythms of nature, circadian rhythms within humans, and so energy. If you bring it into a scientific sense, which I get so excited about. So I got to look up some statistics, and I'm going to just totally blow it because my notes are in light green across the table. FYI.
Small writing.
But in the human body, there's about 7 billion atoms. And atoms make up molecules, and molecules make up cells, and cells make up organs and systems and whatnot, right? So 7 billion atoms are in your body. And all atoms, they postulate, are about 1 billion years old. And the atoms that are in you have been other things in the universe and will be other things in the universe. Let's just sit with that.
I feel like I should have like
right,
man.
It gets mind bendier. If
so
you go
cool.
into quantum physics, it's like what? Because there's about 150 subatomic particles within an atom, and an atom is actually like 99.9% space. Meaning, if you collapsed the space in all the atoms of the universe would fit into a sugar cube without the space. So energy is about the subparticles' movement and moving about and creation within the space within the atom. And that is why energy is such an important part of our overall health, but we don't pull it out like that. We don't have that kind of self-awareness. Exactly. And there are certain rhythms that just happen, There's a reason why 7s show up. It's a prime number, but there's a reason why they show up. I mean, it takes about that long, and then you need about a day off. And so world religions talk about Sabbath because it makes sense, because that's how the human body kind of works. There are actual holidays, and I'm gonna see if I can find the name for this one. Shmita.
Okay.
Schmita is a Jewish tradition that every 7 years, farmers couldn't farm their land. They just had to leave it. All debts were absolved for people within the culture, not for foreigners, but like basically if you owed somebody something thing. At the end of 7 years, it was gone.
Wow.
You know, those kind of rhythms to kind of regenerate and start over, are just saturated in our society. Totally. For sure. But, you know, Jen is talking about energetic, you know, healing modalities. And I'm telling you, there's all sorts of science behind why we know that this works. And you know it in your own life. I promise you, you know it in your own life. When you walk in a room and somebody is in a mood,
I was
you
gonna go there.
Sometimes you see their face, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you walk in and you're like, air feels like.
Have you ever said that? You could cut the tension with a knife.
I was on the phone with Jen yesterday because we were talking about stuff that we're going to do. And I was picking up my daughter from school, and she was in a 5-year-old mood.
She was having a minute.
Because her little art project had fallen apart, and she wanted to get more clay, and she was going to tell me about, and she was just like, and I was like, so I'll be done with that call because this one she's got some stuff that we need to talk about. But you could just tell, like, her whole energy, right? You could just tell as she's walking from the school.
And normally a ball of sunshine, right? And so, and we're referencing a child, but I think that's such a beautiful example of, typically she's going to run out with a smile. I've picked her up a couple times, just I've had the blessing to be with Natalie and pick her up. And the grin is from ear to ear, and she's running and excited to get in the car and hang out. So, but we've all experienced this, right? And I joked the other day with one of my groups about, you know, we have been in a room with someone who's in a space and it's like, oof, man. But conversely, we know people that we can't wait to get around.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know what I'm that it's like, man, you just like lift me up and I'm with you for 5 minutes and I somehow feel more joyous and present and blessed and happy. And so it's all, both of those things are energy. That's the perfect example. We joke about energy vampires. We talk about the people that I feel like I need a week vacation because I've hung out with them for a day.
Yep.
Those things are real. That's energy at work. And so it's all around us and in us, right? And that's what Natalie's talking about. It's around us and in us. And so if all of those, and you're going to say it better than I am, is it atoms?
Atoms.
Or we're in other things are in us, that means that Mother Nature is in us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And vice versa.
Yeah. And it means the boundaries around health are a lot more permeable than we play into. Like, absolutely. Like environmental wellness is internal wellness of a human, and human wellness is environmental wellness.
Exactly.
And when we're not doing well, our environments aren't doing well.
Exactly.
Our nature around us isn't doing well. When we are doing well, it is doing well. There's something about how there's an exchange of this continually. Oh, and I forgot the other. I just think this is fascinating. So your body regenerates continually. Like there's millions of cells that are dying a day, right? Just or even an hour or something. Right. It's just an absurd amount.
Yeah.
So basically every 7 years, the physical nature of your body has completely regenerated. All of your cells are new within a 7-year cycle. Again, the number 7, just saying, you know,
there's something
for
special
numerology
about
people out there, I know there's stuff with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every 7 years, basically, you're meeting a different physical person, but the person didn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
Like, my cells didn't forget how to be Natalie all of a sudden. Hers didn't forget how to be
wake
Jen.
up one day like, who am I? How did I get here?
There's this other, you know, element to humanity that is this consciousness. Yes. Also, more than likely made up of these energies, these forces. And so things that were, you know, here become part of me, and things that were part of me become part of something else later on. We're all interconnected, and there is scientific reality too. We are all interconnected. Exactly. It's not woo-woo as much as we'd like to pretend.
I just needed to call it out.
We just had to call it out.
We hadn't pushed the goat noise in a hot minute, so no, I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's, for me, those ideas that I know they feel, so bear with us, right? Because one of the things I try to do is break down energy in little bite-sized pieces so y'all can take it, because I know this is like a lot coming at you. But I really love the idea that science and this stuff that sounds very kind of out there, beautifully marry. And I think that's the idea, is that we want to kind of tell you this is for everyone. This isn't something that's just for the yogi or the Sherpa on the mountain somewhere and raising goats. This is for everyone, and that there's little pieces of this that we can start to take in to increase that energetic health. And so for fall, I want to talk about who cares? So like, what would I do with this? Okay. So when we're talking about energetic health during a season, Ayurveda does a really beautiful job of mirroring this, and that's ancient wisdom again, right? And so Ayurveda talks about the different doshas, and there's 3 different doshas for each of us, and they define them by like fire. So one is really, Pitta is like very like high energy, usually like slender, hot, like woo, moving people. And there's Vata, and Vata is very like chill. And then there's another one that I'm brain farting right now, could have looked that up, forgot to do so. So there's 3, and what happens is each of us has partial aspects of all of them in us, but there's usually 1 or 2 that are like the most prevalent, where we kind of hang the most. Okay. And so there's really beautiful wisdom back there, but one of the things that we talk about is that this is a Vata season. We're heading into that bear-like season. So that's where what we can do, and I won't go deep into Ayurveda because not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, know about enough to be harmful in some fashion. But I want to talk to the pieces that I do know from my training. And so what I think is really cool is we want to talk, I mentioned earlier, about eating warm foods again, taking more rest, right? So what else did I have on there? Slowing down, just slowing down. Eating more warm foods, more rest, meditation, and here's one of the other ones. This was something I took away from Saturday, and I don't know how you felt about this.
Okay.
So Saturday we're outside for hours, and I started the fire well before anybody came because I thought we were all gonna freeze our asses off. I mean, like people came with. I was like, wear warm clothes. I'm like out with my UGG boots. Like I was worried we were gonna like freeze our asses off.
It was chilly,
and so I started it early because I didn't want them to show up and have to sit through my ceremonial preparation that I was doing for it. I was like, now y'all just want to come and be here and be warm and comfortable because I wanted them to have a nice experience. But I'll tell you this, it was beautiful to spend that whole night outside, and the only time I got cold was the fire burned all the way down, and some of that's energetic. I created like this space for us to be in that night, but the truth is that I think it was so rooting to me to be outside in the cold air. I was still comfortable, but nature. So I know, right? So I was observing by being in nature the transition into that cold air, right? And I was all bundled up, and my friends all had.
You were participating. Your body was participating.
Yes. So my energy is there. My body is there. I'm actually all the levels. We're doing mental and emotional work together. That's what sitting in circle is. And so it was like all the layers of health. And it was so energizing.
Yeah.
And it was really rooting. And so I think there's something really, really important. I can't overemphasize this. And I know somebody's going to be like, eye roll. Get outside in every single season. Because there's something that I think regulates us in a way because we're exposing ourselves to Mother Nature and those natural rhythms. Yeah. And if those natural rhythms are in us, you guys, it's like a way to deeply plug into that energetic zone, if that makes sense.
I mean, again, to go back to the science of it, it makes more sense that you're around other living, regenerating things. So this wall and this window are also made of atoms, and there's also movement in that, but not in the same fashion that there is in a human body or in an animal or in a tree,
right.
Or in the soil. Sure. And so you're literally kind of communing with more living things. And I think any of us who have been in community of any kind, if you've been at a concert, if you've been at church, if you've been, in a big group of people, there is more energy to be had in that.
Absolutely.
So definitely. And it is, I mean, that's kind of where the word grounding really comes from, right?
Right. Yeah. I listened to a whole audiobook on nature and people doing therapy in nature, because it's just a fascination of mine. It always was. And the results of these people going on these journeys. I mean, these were people, some of them incredibly traumatized. I should pass this book on to you because you would totally eat it up.
Yeah.
And there was, I want to say vets, they had vets come out. So they did a group of women who'd been traumatized. They had a group of vets that had been traumatized. And what they did was this journey out on a river. I want to say they were rafting, and they had guides. And man, the stories of these people, and they're going home, I mean, rejuvenated. When I say to the core. And yes, they did talking, but they were in nature. And so I want to really just talk about that, emphasize that idea that you will do yourself the biggest favor by being outdoors and absorbing that energy and being in the way that nature is kind of being manifested. So right now, all of my group for Yoga Nidra this go around was on letting go. I do that every fall because every fall our lesson is about letting go. It's about releasing and settling into that quiet space of more meditative, restful energy. And so, and naturally, that's what the trees are doing. Yeah. So, we're sitting out the other weekend, and literally a wind would blow. I think it might have been one of the days, and the leaves, it was like being rained on.
Yeah.
It was powerful. It was like, God damn, we are in the thick of this, and it's so beautiful.
Oh, please look at that.
It's so stunning.
Yes.
And so again, and it sounds, I get it. To our ears, it sounds like the goat, right? It sounds like really. I'm telling you what, it sounds like that. It sounds super ridiculous, but trust me when I say that. Do yourself a favor in any fashion you can, and some of you live in places where the seasonal changes are going to be less. So those people too, I get it, right? You're like, but here's what I would say. Still get outside. And if need be, access other things that feel more seasonally shifting.
Well, and listen to your internal wisdom.
Absolutely.
Because she and I got in a conversation. I mean, Jen's licensed clinical social worker and a licensed psychologist. So we went to this conversation around seasonal affective disorder. Now, I come from a theoretical perspective that the human psyche is adaptive. And so things that we have termed disordered really are adaptations that go out under the fringe of the normal curve out into like the 10% or less land, but they're an adaptation to something. So for those of us that do notice a major change in our mental health around this time of year, I want you to think about how adaptive that is in a season where darkness is going to overcome light, and your energy levels are going to be less organically reduced.
Right.
And you need to conserve and preserve your energy. Mm-hmm. Now, the disordered part of it is it does not fit into the construct of American culture for certain, but into most cultures, honestly. But there are some. I've done some research of some of the Norwegian countries like Finland and Norway, closer to the North Pole than they are to the equator. Much like Alaska and America, they're going to see hours and hours and hours of the day be dark and very few be light in the winter months, because that's how far away from the sun that they are in their orbit. They modify culture around that, so there's just less of a work day in those times of the year and more of a work day during the summer months, because naturally our internal energy is telling us, hell no, I'm not going to work for 8 hours. Could I sleep for 12 during the winter?
Yes.
Sign me up, because that is totally me. But our culture doesn't allow space necessarily for that.
Right. And that's a bigger change that I know that we'll probably get to in our lifetimes. I wish we would. I mean, I can always pray that something like that changes, but that's where I really think it's very interesting that I would throw out there that it would be really fun to do studies in those countries about life satisfaction. And my guess is that they are more satisfied. Yeah. And their clinical version of depression would be less than ours during those seasons, because they're naturally respecting those shifts and changes, and so energetically they're moving with the seasons.
Right.
And that's really what would behoove all of us. Now, again, reasonably, I mean, unfortunately, like I said, we don't live in a place that we can do that. It falls on us in our own sort of daily practices and how we take care of ourselves to immerse ourselves in that energy as much as we can, given that we're probably not going to get a huge systemic change overnight. But no. These are things you can do for yourself. So they're really reasonable things, you guys. I mean, spending some time outside, whether for a walk or a campfire or camping or a hike somewhere, or it could just be shooting the breeze with friends and having cocktails around a whatever, even a gas fireplace or whatever outside. But spending time with our kids, family, friends, as much as we can, getting out and doing those things, or even by yourself, is putting something back in, eating warmer foods, taking more time to rest. So this week I have done a lot of that because I think I almost burnt myself out a couple weeks ago with all the activity, but I have still a lot of stuff coming. But this week I was like, nope, today's off. And then at night I might teach a class or I might have something, but today I'm going to veg and I'm going to do not much because I needed to put it back in.
Restore.
Yeah, restore. Rest and restore. And so those are things, you guys, I mean, like it is not a crazy amount of effort to spend time in that energy and respect and honor it. And I think that's the mind-blowing thing for me is I think we could do these small pieces and really feel a pretty dramatic difference.
Yeah.
But I love what you mentioned. I just want to go back to, I think it's a cool idea about that seasonal depression. Like, what would it look like if we didn't make it a sickness? In our right, which is one of my and those of you that have been following my story along and sort of leaving my traditional therapy practice was like it doesn't resonate with me that everybody's sick and broken. I have never liked that idea. I understand the necessity for insurance companies. I get it, right? I understand logically. It just never fit right for me emotionally, energetically to like, oh, something's really broken with you. But do we all feel a little funky in the winter months because we are spending a lot of time in the dark, particularly those of us in the Midwest, meaning about the hunk of that middle of our country, and that's we're really, I mean, like it's a little bit brutal because we just really don't have that ability to get outside and do things like we would. It's why so many people travel in the winter from here, right? Because we want to. Yep, and I get that, man. That makes a lot of sense to me because it's a natural way to adjust for what's going on in the winter. So we have to accommodate that, right? I get that, and I wouldn't live anywhere else in the world because this is really where my heart and soul is, and all my beautiful people are here. But I will say, man, that time of year is a lot of mindfulness around self-care. Yeah. And so I just want to start observing that idea for you guys and putting that out there so that, and we'll revisit this again. So we'll try to come back and like, okay, now it's winter. How do I observe winter? How can I do some mental health things, some energetic things to support myself? I don't just have to be at the mercy of this entire experience. I am in charge. You are the boss of your energy. And I think that was years ago, I coined this term, like you are the boss of your energy. If we just feel like we're always at the mercy, it's a very victim mindset. Like, oh, I can't do anything about this. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. You can read, you can attend things, you can go outside, you can eat foods that are more, commonly associated with that time of season. Man, there's a lot of stuff we can do. Yeah. Rather than the things we can't, there's way more that we can do than we can't.
And to keep that adaptive perspective, stop asking yourself what is wrong with me and start asking yourself what is right about what's happening. It doesn't feel great. I get that. Discomfort oftentimes is an important part of the change process. And so I'm not saying that you're going to be happy about it. What I'm saying is ask yourself, what is working about this? Yeah. Why is it working? How is it working? Because when we start to adapt, to that philosophy of I'm not broken, I'm actually working perfectly as I'm supposed to be working, but it looks different in this culture when I do this because they want me to have this amount of energy. Well, guess what? My internal wisdom says, no, I can't. Exactly. And then learn to accommodate for that. Have some awareness of your energy health and start to put back in and do those bucket fillers. And if you don't know how to do that, there is endless resources on the interwebs, seeing a counselor, talking in community. Start to get together with the people in your life and say, do you feel like this? Because I feel like this. And what do you do about that? Because there's a ton of collective wisdom that you could be using. Right.
And I would promote, because I promote it, is, meditation it is accessible to us all the time. And I will say this, I know that meditation is not for everybody, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. I actually think it is, but that's okay. Because I think that everybody meditates differently, right? So we've talked about that. We're not going to revisit that whole idea. But I would say that in seasonal change or in moments where we are feeling disconcerted, that's a great time to plug into that and put goodness in or put peace in. So if I'm feeling very here, I have the ability to go with my meditation and wind that down a little bit. So if I'm really spun up or if I'm really activated or I'm really struggling or I'm really lethargic and I actually need something, my meditation can also help me do this same thing. Yeah. And so it's really about using those tools. And here's the thing, friends, meditation's free. helps to have a guide. I'm going to say particularly if you're new to it and things like that. And sometimes I still need guides. Like I really appreciate it. I take classes all the time. So I'm like not just like, oh, I've got this and I don't do, no, I'm like in my own classes. I attend my own things here to keep that rejuvenated, to keep that moving. And so meditation is free. So like utilize that as a resource to help adjust and manage your energy, because that's always accessible to you, man. And there's a ton of material out there. So it's not like you have to hire somebody to do it. And so that's just another thought. So anyway, is there anything else you want to add? I mean, that was really
No, I like it.
I will say this. I'll finish, and I think that you'll agree with this too. And I put a note on there because we kept meaning to talk about these things are probably more important right now because of COVID. So the stuff that we've been talking about in general, I really believe is honestly even more essential to all of us given COVID, given having to have been separated from one another, different work environments, and the stress level of our human population as a whole really spun up. And so right now more than ever, right, we need to have these kinds of thoughts and ideas and tools accessible because, man, everyone is going through this together.
Yes.
And
so, the energy is definitely
it's wackadoodle. Absolutely. And so we really want to be mindful that right now, given our particularly bizarro last 6 months or however many months it's been, it's, we need all of this stuff.
Yep. Right? And Jen and I really are just trying to help people see the agency you do have. So the things that you are in control of when everything outside of you seems so out of control. We've been conditioned as a species, humanity has, to look outward. And that's partly neurobiological because we are interdependent. So we need to live in community in order to survive. And, when out here is a shit show, like, that's not where you want to put all your eggs. That basket is going to keep falling down. And so what we're trying to help you to understand is there's also ways in your interior world to ground, and in your interior world to learn how to rest, restore, when the outside of you seems like there is no way this thing is spinning out of control. There's no way we can feel this way. Yeah, we can. We've been here for millennia. So let me just say that the wisdom of all of these cultures across time, if you really start to look at and understand the science behind that, there's a reason why we continue. Right. There's a reason why we can survive. And we just are trying to help you kind of reground in those survival strategies that are already there.
And reconnect with it. Because if the idea is that the atoms of everything are within us, all of that ancient wisdom and healing is still there.
Yep.
So I want you to think about it that way too, is like I already have within my very core being, the way I've been created, have this mystery within me. I have this deep knowledge already inside me. Yep. That is a really cool way to be thinking about things rather than this powerless, like this is a shit show and I don't know what to do with myself. Wrong. Yeah. In fact, you are wired with your answers on the inside. And sometimes it's just the ability to access them that gets kind of blocked for each of us, which is why chakra work is so cool. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I go on about the chakras, because that's a cool place to do some of that energetic healing. So, all right. I mean, guys, that was awesome. I don't know if anybody has questions. I'm not seeing that doesn't mean anything. I don't see anything populating. If you have questions, please feel free to post them below. We will be back in 2 weeks on October. And
jeez, let's look. Which October? It's October.
Which October? October. What's 2 weeks out?
It's 23rd.
The 23rd. So the 23rd we'll be back here. So we hope you'll join us, and we'll let you guys know what that topic will be on closer to the time. Natalie and I usually put our brains together because we like questions.
Please. Give us questions. If anything from today or anything from 2 weeks ago when we met on WooWoo in the Brain is starting to be like, woo, this is exciting. Natalie's going to look up stuff on the interwebs. No, I'm just kidding. Jen's going to tell us about what we're supposed to do, and Natalie's going to be like, and here's what's happening in the brain.
This is happening.
Please share with us, because we'd be happy to tailor this more to things that directly would affect you, because there's stuff that you're curious about. We're curious about so many things. Like, you seriously could drop about 3 words and Jen and I could spin on it for hours. That's just how this goes. Like,
it's so true. It's so true.
Not today, Satan.
Jesus, take the wheel. I love our messages on our mugs. Yes.
We should give a shout out, even though we don't get a kickback. This is all
Patina.
It's
Oh
my
God.
favorite.
Literally, that store is
the
store
best.
of my soul. I'm not even kidding. It's so freaking good. So you guys follow along with things, like I said, with what Natalie's doing. If you're wanting to join in with that Chakra Yoga Nidra, that starts again November 1st. I'm really excited about that series. If like the timing of that, it's going to be really lovely. I've got that retreat coming early January. We're going to revision the things we're going to be doing. Retreat in a box. You're going to get a little box of goodies from yours truly in order to kind of elevate your experience that day. I'm super excited to do that. That's really fun. That's like been like a growing in my soul thing. Can't wait to do that. That's January 3rd. And Natalie and I are going to come in and do a really fun something in December. We're going to kind of kick that whole idea into gear.
We're going to help us close out 2020 on a positive.
Yes, we are.
And allow things to be to die in order to rebirth in the spring. That's our idea here.
Please
Jesus. Join us. Please Jesus.
Please Jesus, take the wheel and tell us that 2021 is going to be way effing better than 2020.
Oh, yes.
Otherwise, there will be more than water sitting in my cup on a routine basis at our meetings, just saying.
Maybe. It's possible.
Yeah, I know, maybe about it. So we will plan on seeing you guys here again noon in 2 weeks. And you guys have an awesome couple weeks here, and stay in touch.
And enjoy the beauty.
Please get out and embrace this energy that's going on right now. It's just absolutely stunning. The weather's supposed to be very nice here in the Midwest. In Minnesota today, it's going to be like 80 degrees or some crazy thing.
Some loveliness.
Get out while you can, because I'm telling you what, it's coming for us. So enjoy it, guys. Take care, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna go sign us off here.
Sign us off.
Sign us off. Wee. Okay. I was like, I keep saying we. I'm just gonna keep saying we.
Can you hit the stop on that one?
I don't know what the fuck happened to my I don't know either.